Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to another quick little Elvira entry here from the movie Macabre Coffin collection boxed set from the 2010-2011 run of her show. It's been a little bit since I'd kind of sat down with one of these titles, for which this one is for Wild Women from 1951. A little more on that title in a little bit here. But anyways, as with the previous entries in this kind of series of little reviews / recommendations I've been doing, I will start with the film, go into a little bit about that, and then go into the Elvira related portion of that presentation of the film, of which the synopsis for this film is as follows. A small safari in Africa is captured by a tribe of white jungle women. Okay, well, not much to go on there, so here's a little bit more. So we mainly follow this American big game hunter named Trent and a friend of his who are on safari in Africa. They encounter, this tribe of Amazon women, some beasts, and so on. We see how they kind of set out and try to survive and have these run-ins with these various creatures of this island, and especially these women. But it's really just this great representation of some of the kinds of really hokey films that they used to throw out back in the day, filming it over a week or two and getting something out there. Something usually quite short like this one, which only clocked in at about 70 minutes. So it's very low budget, and it's really just all over the place, seeming to just kind of be a reason to put women on screen in bikinis. Within this, we also see a lot of apparent stock footage, as well as footage reused from other films. A lot of it doesn't really match. It reminds me of a scene in the Tim Burton film Ed Wood, where Ed Wood is being shown all this extra stock footage, and he just decides, I can make a movie out of all of this. That kind of, this kind of reminded me of that portion of the film, that they just got stock footage, used it, found a way to write a story around it. It's a very cheesy setup and presentation, and all in all, as expected, a little B movie through and through, which has some moments, I guess. But mainly those moments are to kind of make fun of the obvious stock footage and reused footage, as well as these women who look anything but savage. They look more like they're a dolled up model who was dropped off in the woods. Kind of watching out of morbid curiosity, maybe, and just to try to figure out how or why they even threw this one together. Making it more confusing, actually, is a title, which technically is Untamed Women, which is what they name it when it's on TV. But when it was released in the theater, it was called Wild Women, which gets mixed up from 1951, mixed up with the Untamed Women from 1952. Anyways, it's kind of a weird naming convention for this. It's a mess through and through. But what about the Elvira portion? Because that's what really this box set is all about. I'm not actually watching any of these movies in it with interest in the film itself. I just want to see what Elvira's presentation of this movie is like. So, as for the movie Macabre presentation portion, it is a little bit short. We have a very brief setup compared to some of the other films at the beginning of this, and not many pop-ins for a good portion of the beginning set of that film. But it does quickly get better after that, as she parodies The View with a hosting of women, of witches actually, for a show that they're calling The Brew. But what's great about this is we get some really nice additions here in the form of Carla Renata, who I'm mainly familiar with from the show Superstore, which I'd rewatched last year. I think that was my second or third time through it, as well as Mindy Sterling, who has been in quite a bit over the years, but is probably most recognized as Frau Farbissina in the Austin Powers films from back in the 90s. And finally, we have Edie McClurg, who between her voice work and what she's done on screen, she has over 220 credits to her name, and you'll probably recognize her from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Elvira's Mistress of the Dark, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and various others over the years. And both her and Mindy were actually in the Groundlings, which is likely how they got involved with this episode, is due to their association with Cassandra Peterson there, and kind of having been able to hone their skills, way back in the day, keep in touch, and get the pop in for doing a nice little set for this entry here. But as far as Elvira's portion of it, again, this kind of saves this entry, especially since she has these co-hosts for The Brew, that whole parody going on, and of course she still has some pop-ins here and there, which in an otherwise short and really bad B movie, kind of make it, at best, the movie's a bit tolerable, I would say, but probably just because of those pop-ins and her little sketches, during those little breaks. Like a few other titles, I could see maybe queuing this one up again in the future just for the Elvira bits, to just kind of revisit those little sketches, but not to really sit down with the movie again like I would with, say, Night of the Living Dead or even Werewolf of Washington in this set that I could actually see sitting through those films again. But all in all, it's still a very short, fun entry with some good parody with these three co-hosts, which definitely make it worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this latest entry here from Elvira's Movie Macabre presents Untamed Women, the TV name before the theatrical film Wild Women. Confusing anyway, so if you want to look into that title, remember there's another Untamed Women. I mean, don't even watch the movie. Just watch it from the Elvira set. That's the only way to really check it out, because like I said, her presentation really kind of sells this and makes it worth sitting down to. But anyways, this is film number 11 out of her set of, I believe, 28 films, so there's still a lot more to kind of go through eventually here and there. I still plan on doing one every couple weeks, so be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put those up. And be sure to also check out that back catalog. I got a lot of stuff in there, and a really strange one, like a little vlog entry I did a couple days ago about a show that I attended. But anyways, that's about all I have for this one. Thanks for coming around and for sticking around to the end, as it really does help out quite a bit. And I will see you in the next one.